Hello dear friends, I took a little break of the garden work and the editing of the garden work episodes. I felt like I needed some rest and just the pure enjoyment of what we have instead of the rush and the work that came with it. I paused the editing of the berry garden and the compost building episode to gather some calm and slow moments we had in the past few weeks. It was warm, quite hot sometimes, and we spent a lot of our time outside. It's lovely to walk through the garden and just observe what's happening and growing here and there. Come with us and have a picnic in this beautiful June and July scenery. I had found an old children's book about the different lives and characteristics of hares and rabbits, and as long as the hares were still visible on the fields behind our house, the grass would soon be high enough for them to hide in it. We read it quite often to our boys. I think it's been published in the 80s, and the detailed illustrations are so typical for this era. I love those kinds of books. All year round, this is my most favorite kind of weather next to snow, stormy days. The wind brings a relief from the heat, and it's so intense here. We live just a couple of 100 meters from all our old apartments now, but the open fields instead of buildings and trees around us make a huge difference. While other people would rather stay inside because of the heat, we often have some days of wind and storm in between and enjoy this deeply. It is an amazing feeling to stand in the wind that comes straight towards you. I feel it on every inch of my body, and the strength of it gives me chills. It makes me deeply grateful and happy to live here at this place. We start our day slowly here, and I remember this rainy morning where my son had found a snail driving around in front of the living room window. He got himself a chair and just sat down to watch it go its way. These windows that go from the floor to the ceiling are so nice to observe the closest nature. We often find birds and other animals we can watch while cuddling up on the sofa. For a couple of days we were able to watch a family of great tits feeding their ever-hungry babies. They have my biggest respect for flying back and forth in this wet and stormy weather. In May and June, the elder bushes were eventually covered in white flowers. We have 2 elder trees, and a third one is waiting to be planted as our second son's birth tree. I always collect as many flowers as I can, however, leaving enough on the trees because I want to harvest the berries later in the year too. This is some kind of a struggle though. Most of the flowers will be dried for tea. Elderflower tea is very beneficial drinking it when you have a cold or even a viral infection. It is said to be one of the only plants that can help against viruses. I always make sure to have a lot stored up for winter time. take my reminder here that you should only forage what you're safe to identify correctly. Be sure about potential poisonous lookalikes and do your own research. I can only give you an inspiration here on what to forage. This is the oldest elder tree here. My parents had planted it years ago and it's higher than our house. It was insanely beautiful when it was fully in bloom. We picked them from my son's window, which was a little adventure for him. When we leave the window open here, the whole room smells like elderflowers, which is amazing. Next to drying the flowers for tea, I am making an oxymel here. Oxymel is an ancient technique of mixing herbs, honey and vinegar and is used as an herbal medicine. The Greek word oxy means acid and mel stands for honey. The liquid draws out the nutrients from the plants and in this case it's been elderflowers. There are a lot of different recipes for oxymels, and while I made one out of spruce needles and one out of plantain and thyme earlier this year, I am now trying this one for the first time. It will help us through winter as it is an easy thing I can just put into the salad sauce to incorporate it into our family's everyday life. But the kids also love to eat a teaspoon of it straight into the mouth when they have a cold, a cough, or when we come back home after a cold and wet day outside. I don't follow a specific recipe, I'll just mix the ingredients until the jar is full and may put some more honey in it for taste when it's ready. One night in June, I was waiting for a special full moon, the strawberry moon. It is called like that because it appears around the first strawberry harvest. I walked up the little hill in our village, waiting for it to rise above the mountains in the south. It was already quite late when it showed up, so it was very dark already. But it was really, really red and orange in color. It was quite cold, but I enjoyed this so much. I love these kinds of nature phenomena that just happen quiet, no matter if someone watches or not. One part of us living in this house that we all love very much is that we can see the weather above the mountains in the south. We feel and hear the wind coming first, followed by the rain and darkness coming towards us, being able to stay on the porch looking at it, listening to the thunder close by and far away. We chose 1 week of good weather to go on vacation in our garden. We set up a tent and made it cozy inside for me and the kids. My husband continued working, but joined us in all activities in the afternoon. We needed this. I felt like everything was going uneasy in our family dynamic for a couple of weeks, and we had to take this break. So our 5-year-old didn't even go to kindergarten this week, but stayed at home and loved playing outside with his wooden train toys or finding ants running up and down the old oak tree. I arranged as much free time as possible, as I just felt like not going anywhere but staying in our garden was the best. It was so nice because our world slowed down. My son climbed trees, found lots and lots of animals and insects in our garden, and we've been outside the whole day. We just went with the flow, and it made the days very easy and felt like a good reset. To be honest though, bringing the kids to bed was definitely no fun, to say the least, because it was bright until 11 p.m. But our night sleep was so good on the other side. The cicadas sang for hours, and we heard bird songs we don't hear when we're staying on the couch at night. And for our older son, it was such an adventure to wake up in the tent every morning and eating lunch and dinner around the fireplace. Earthing at its best. This wonderful summer sunset light. It invited me to take some pictures with wolfsbane, which grew in our garden back in June. This is the most poisonous and deadliest plant in Europe, so I cut it, but couldn't resist taking some pictures to say goodbye. But don't let me fool you, I didn't touch it, and neither should you. I used a piece of fabric to hold it. This plant is an example of the beauty of nature that one simply should admire. Not more, not less. I hope you enjoyed this slow summer episode. I am continuously working on our next videos, but in my pace, but I'm sure you will enjoy the journey we are taking you on. Thank you for watching.